DOTE.
Welcome to an advanced tutorial on how to use DOTE to transcribe. And one thing we can do is, before we begin transcription, is try to make some notes or annotations on the video. And so DOTE can afford that. It's not designed specifically for that, and there will be things in the future added to DOTE and to other software that we're developing in order to better work with data and lots of data in order to make preliminary proto-analyses. So we're going to show you just little hacks you can do to do that inside DOTE. And here we have the Lego demo project. We're going to work with only one video from this and then start a new transcript to try and show you the different ways that you can make notes on your videos. So I'm just going to make a new project. We're going to call it event, and let's just put notes as the name of the transcript. So it's an event of some type and we're making notes, and I'm going to store it here. Well, let's call it a Jeffersonian transcript for now, and create. So there we have a blank project for an event. We need to add some media. So I'm going to choose a file here from the basics from, and let's say we want to choose the general Insta360 camera here. Now it's copying that file into the project, and once I close, it will open and create the waveform. And that's done. Now we have a video that lasts 3 minutes 43 seconds. And we might want to zoom in a bit here so we can see people a little bit better. And let's say we want to try and map out when this person, this woman, she runs, and we're just making an idea of how many times does she run in the video. And the video could be an hour long, 2 hours long, and we're just beginning to figure out where is it interesting that we can start to focus our transcription and begin transcription. So let's just say in this shortish clip of 3 minutes 43 seconds, we're just trying to find the ways she runs, and our transcript is ready. We won't bother looking at settings and transcript options. We're just going to make some sort of, so at the beginning here we could add metadata, notes on P2, let's call her P2 movement, and we could start now. So now we could, and the idea is either to use the technical comments or standard comments in a Jeffersonian transcript with double round brackets, and then we can see that there's some other little tricks you can do. So if we play now.
3, og så når jeg siger go, så starter vi. Er I klar? 3, 2, 1, go.
So there, she's beginning to run now. So we could actually make a comment here. And if we do a comment in standard, so P2 runs. So there we have it very clear. We could add a sync code at this point here, which means we can just click here and we get a sync code. And that's the point at which she runs. And allows us to go back to that point. We can adjust that. If, for example, here we zoom in here, then we could see maybe we need to adjust that a little bit to get the timing perfect. It's roughly, as he's saying, she's going to begin to run about here. You see the movement here, so let's just put it roughly here. She's beginning to run. So there's our first sort of timing. We've actually coded onto the video, onto the media of the waveform, where something happens. So let's just zoom out a bit here and play forward. Jump. Just come back there. We have to sort of switch around here and see her returning here. So she's going to run again. There she is, she's coming around. So let's say it's roughly about there. She's going to begin to run. This is in the future, so we have to go forward, and now we could just type another P2 runs back. For example, Control M will add a sync code. So now we're beginning to annotate the video when something is interesting is happening, and we go forward. We're going to have to return here to watch her. I'm doing this manually. We can set up video. Now she's running again, so we could just make another note here. P2 runs, and add a sync code. Control M does that. and we could adjust the timing of that just by moving it here. There she's beginning to turn, there's the twist, so let's say it goes from there, she starts running. So you can see we can now build up across the whole of this transcript, sort of this media file, and if we just zoom out you'll see all we've managed to cover is just up to this point, and we'll find a series of movements, and we've tracked that. So that's using standard comments. We could have also done that using instead of that, we could have, if I just delete that, we could have used a technical comment. We could have done it at the beginning of the line. It's best to do comments as if they are part of the transcript using a tab, because that means we can turn this into a transcript later much more easily. And so we could do it here, P2 runs, and that would be another way to do as a set of annotations. So there's two different systems here. Let's just move on to see how else we could do it. So if we go to this point here, she's about to run, and now we're looking for when she runs back. Jump forward. I think she came back. There, I missed it. She's about to turn. There she comes, and I could step back with frame by frame. So let's say here she starts running, and that's at this point here. What we could do is say P2 and then colon and then add runs here. That would be another way to do it. Runs, and we might want to keep P2 in here just in case we eliminate, so P2 runs back in this case. So now we have P2 as this is an action that's happening, and it's now assigned to this speaker. So that's another way to do it. Let's look forward again and see a different way that we could do it. It comes back. We're going to just move it around, and it's going to jump forward. She's going to run. There, she's gone, so I'll just go back. There, she's about to run. So let's say it's at this point. What we could do is start to add tags instead of using a speaker name. We could just add a tag, which is something like move, for example, and then a subtag if we wanted, but just move could be the one, and then we could then add P2 runs. And then, so move now is something that we could search for as a tag. We could also do it as another tag. Let's just move on and see what happens when she runs back, adding in subtags as part of the action subtier. That means we'd have to switch to a more Jeffersonian. She's gone back. Oops, there she is. Just jump through a little bit. I think she came back.
Yes.
There she is there. So I forgot to add some, obviously some sync codes that we'd need to be able to jump around here. That's the whole point. Let's say this is now the return here. We could add move run just to clarify. And this is, in this case, we'd have to add P2 runs back. And that means we've got some sort of classification for, maybe we didn't, maybe we put here, goes back. So now we have something we could search for, which is a movement type of main element, which has then run. And this allows us then to maybe add others like move, twist, for example. Notice here we need to change the spacing width of the name column to make this work. It's given a little warning there about that to make sure that it doesn't encroach onto the space required in the tab. So move twist, and then we could have some sort of comment there, and then we could have another move, and it could be walk. So you could see, and then add a comment there, and that means we could search for these, because if we have another one down here, and let's say it's a move run, and we're annotating here on the, and this is of course could be up here, and I'll just add that. Let's say it is there that she moves, and then we'll just go back a bit here. These are not real ones, and then this one could be here, and so I'm just adding this one could be here, let's say that one there. So now we have a bunch of these. Then let's say we're at this one here, move run, and then that is some sort of comment there about the running, the nature of the running. So all of these have some sort of comment in them, and the comment could be indefinitely long. Or what you can do is do this, and then you could see the whole width of them here by shrinking the media interface here. So now you've got some sort of, and then if you say, okay, I want to look at this one here, so if I just select that, then you can see here that giving you some idea where it is in the whole length of the transcript. And if I actually say change all occurrences, it will show me all of those. So you can actually then find all of those examples. So as well as using find up here, you can see find, and then if I choose move, it'll show all the examples with move. If I choose run, it will show all the examples with run in. Then you can start to use that to, an easy way is just to say move run I'm interested in, and then say change all occurrences, and it will show you those. So then you've got tags, and if you needed to change that, like you wanted to have the plural, actually there you can see we're actually editing that at the same time. So now we've changed the subcategory, the subtag from the main tag. So that'll give you a chance to do basic comments, to do comments attached to people, participants, to do a basic classification of interesting phenomena which you can pick up and search for, and to do subtagging as well. So that gives you some resources there to sort of hack the system to start to annotate your video. And then what you need to do once you've done that is you could say, well, I think I found what I need. I want to keep these sync codes, and I could just go and delete these and start typing my transcript, like exactly what does happen here. But what I could do is just save as new transcript and give it a name. Let's just say this is notes to transcript, and I don't want checkpoint history, maybe, though you might want that if you've made it. I don't want backup history. I don't want to copy the text. I just want the sync codes. Video cues, there aren't any, so I could just leave that, and I want to open it. So now if I save that, and I need to save this one just so I can come back to it, there we have a blank transcript. We should see the waveform appear. Not sure why the waveform hasn't appeared there. What we could do is just open it again, and it's this notes to transcript. There we are. For some reason it disappeared. And now these actually you can see jump to exactly where that was happening. Like at this point here was where she's about to run. This one is where she's about to run back. And then we could start to add a proper transcript here. We could, of course, just save it as a new transcript and keep the text and then eliminate, and then we'd be able to go back. So if I just go and have a look now, we'll just go look at the notes. There's the notes that we made. So we can switch back and forth, see the notes, decide that we want to focus on certain phenomena, and not on others, make a new transcript that keeps some of the elements of what we see here, and then start transcribing on those bits. So that's, I think, a very useful way of hacking how DOTE works in order to begin to find some sort of proto-analysis, locate some phenomena that's interesting across, maybe it's an hour-long video, and then focus in on the bits that you really want to transcribe. And maybe because you're using the Mondadan system, you simply just don't have time to transcribe 1 hour using Mondada. That would take a hell of a long time, even if you're an expert at using the system. You just want to focus on certain parts that are happening. We are developing software that will enable you to map out multiple videos of multiple events, and then do all sorts of clever stuff that's supporting qualitative proto-analysis. And that will be coming in the future, which this is just a preliminary example of how to get started with such a filtering of your data.